Hello and welcome to the VTTDM channel. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm JW, the VTTDM, and today we're going to do a Thanksgiving-themed talk about group initiatives in VTTs, as well as handling initiative for mobs in VTTs. Now, one of the great things about virtual tabletop play is that if you have a bunch of tokens you want to roll initiative for all at once, you can. At least in Foundry and Roll20, probably everywhere else. Foundry does it natively, and Roll20 requires you to add an API script called, you guessed it, Group Initiative. It's a simple process. I'll walk you through adding those some other time. But what if you want to use mob rules because there's just so many monsters on your virtual table? We'll cover 3 simple ways to make that work with no muss and no fuss. But first, go ahead and tap that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. It is Thanksgiving after all, and you can show thanks to me for making this video, and I can give thanks to you for doing so. All right, now back to initiative for groups of tokens in VTTs. Let me show you some examples of both group initiative and initiative for mobs in Roll20, although, like I keep saying, it works for other VTs too. Now, here we have a pilgrim village with a few pilgrims and a few Native Americans. Apologies if those pilgrims look more like cowboys. These tokens looked more like pilgrims than the pilgrim tokens I found, so they're pilgrims now. And anyway, our pilgrims and natives have, for no good reason, stuck a pumpkin pie, a cornucopia, and a roasted turkey out in the middle of the street. Boy, are they in for a big surprise, because here comes a turkey knight. Whoa! He's here to avenge his fallen roasted brother. But oh wait, it's a whole squad of turkey knight. Oh dear. It's time to roll initiative. Now, for our purposes, the players are the humans and the NPCs are the turkeys. Normally, I'd let the players roll for their characters, but I'm going to roll for all the characters on the map all at once, so you can see group initiative in action and see that it works with groupings of any types of creatures together, not just one type only. Here I go. I select them all, and now in Foundry, once they're selected, once you've done that, you just roll initiative and Foundry does the rest for you, the whole group. In Roll20, assuming that you've added the group initiative mod to your game, you then type in the chat, !group hyphen, oops, that's not a hyphen, hyphen init, and then hit enter, and voila, you can see it rolled initiative for everybody. And you can also see that it populated the turn tracker for you. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put that in descending order, and voila, now we can play some combat. And I've even got the pie and the cornucopia and the roasted turkey in there, just in case they have to take a turn. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clear the tracker now, because what if, instead of just a small party of turkey knights, you have a whole small army of them. Sometimes doing group initiative will be just fine for your table with this many tokens. Maybe you and your players like to be very strategic and let everything have its own turn, but most people will probably use mob rules. The first of 3 things that you can do is to simply pick a token, roll only for its initiative as a proxy for that particular mob. There's a downside to this. I've accidentally removed the token with the initiative attached to it since I considered it dead, and thereby had that initiative wiped off the turn tracker while most of the mob was still alive. Sadly, I didn't notice until the next round, and I had no idea when that mob's turn was. So the second thing you can do is to put a marker like so onto that token so that you can remember that that token dies last of that mob group. But maybe you don't like seeing that marker on the token. It's killing your immersion. Well, don't fret. The third thing you can do, assuming that you're using dynamic lighting, is have one extra token for each mob, and that'll be the initiative attached token for that mob, and then you hide that. You can stick it all the way at the back of the map, somewhere where it's not going to get in the way. But what I like to do, if you're using dynamic lighting, you can notice that this building here has, I'll just show you the lighting layer. You can see it's got the lighting layer. Nobody can see in. You can see the shadows for the showing that it's dim inside. And I'll just take I'll put the turkey on the toilet seat right there. And I'll just take it and put it inside the area that nobody can see in and nobody's going to go into. And if you've got multiple mobs, of course, put all their tokens in that area. And you can put markers on those tokens so you know which mob is which and going at which time. And then you go for it. And by the way, this hide the single token thing also works great when you have all monsters on the same turn, whether they're mobs or not. Works great. And of course, there's another great thing you can do with all these mob represented tokens. They can be your hit point tracker too. So ideally, during the session prep, but it could be when you roll initiative if you have to, you'll have done the math on how many HP the mob as a total has and track it for that representative token. It's easy peasy. Well, I hope you virtual tabletop gamers found that useful, or at least interesting if you didn't already know the trick. And if you like this video, please hit that like button below, and while you're there, you might as well subscribe too. And I thank all of you this Thanksgiving week for watching all the way through. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next week.